If anyone believes that, after the Second World War, there won't be a bigger conflict, they need to rethink. The United States has just sent 1/3 of its Navy to the Middle East. Yes, 1/3, imagine that. 1/3 of their fleet, including all their aircraft carriers and warships, is now in the Middle East. This is unprecedented. Since 1945, we've never seen anything like this. It didn't happen during the Iraq War. The US has never dispatched such a large portion of its Navy before. Think about it. The last major war was World War II, and now preparations are underway for a potential Third World War. The US is clearly involved, and history will remember it as the driving force behind this conflict. When you send a large part of your Navy, it signals a serious intention. The Middle East is on the brink of a major crisis. This conflict might be aimed at destroying, rather than saving, Islamic countries. Listen to China for a moment. They have warned that the biggest threat right now is a nuclear war. They believe the US is pushing for this. China says nuclear war clouds are hanging over the world. When was the last time you heard China speak like this? China doesn't usually make such statements, but if they're speaking out now, it's based on their intelligence. China plans for the next century, and their current focus is on 2075, when we might not even be around. They're thinking about the next generations. They believe the US is pushing for nuclear conflict, and they see it as a major threat to global safety. Consider the US Navy's actions carefully. At first, these statements might seem like mere bravado, but they could be misleading. The Islamic world might realize the threat too late. The real enemies could be the US or Israel. Think about this. The US is bringing 1/3 of its Navy to a small region. They've sent their aircraft carriers, 47 in total, which is more than any other country possesses, to the Middle East. What are they planning? It's clear they're preparing for war. Right now, the US claims it wants peace. But this is a facade. Remember, even if Iran plans not to attack Israel for the next 100 years, Israel will still strike. The US is preparing to attack Iran. The situation is such that Lebanon has showcased its defenses, tunnels, underground facilities. It's more about actions than just showing off. Israel is continuously gathering intelligence on Lebanon and Iran. Recently, Netanyahu declared they would strike Iran themselves, using the pretext of fear that Iran might strike first. This comes after Russia supplied advanced missile defense systems to Iran. Otherwise, Israel's actions would have been different. The current scenario shows that if Trump were to return, things might change drastically. But for now, the US is containing Russia, and China was to be handled through India, which did not cooperate. Now, the US has decided to bring its naval fleet to the Middle East. This suggests an imminent world conflict. China and Russia are facing pressure. Iran is being pushed into action, and soon China might face severe sanctions. BRICS, with 159 countries, is planning a new payment system to replace the US dollar. This shift indicates that when the US dollar collapses, oil sales will be impacted. The US Navy's presence in the Middle East is a clear message. The situation is dire, and countries should understand the impending conflict. The Middle East is heading toward massive destruction. Attacks on Lebanon and potentially Iran are on the horizon. Israeli jets have already bombarded Lebanon, and reports indicate ongoing strikes. In the coming days, the US might strike Iran, leading to further consequences. Iran has shown its preparedness, with trucks and tunnels ready, but it's more about action than display. The US is preparing for a major conflict, and if the current trends continue, the results could be devastating.